Hello, people in internet land. It's been a while since I posted anything, mainly due to the fact that it's been insanely busy. Things have been really speeding up. So it's been a while. Also, to be honest, these long March days of slight gloom have got to me. Depression has hit. Nothing too much to worry about. I'm still in the land of the living very much, and doing quite well, saying that I'm feeling pretty much like I don't have any energy any day. But that's okay. What's happened over the last 3 weeks? Well, really, a lot of I'm beginning to become the human taxi. Evan and Hannah are now playing sports. Hannah is just playing basketball at the moment, but Evan is playing basketball and baseball. I know it's a bit early for baseball, but as I tell him, the major leagues they practice, they do pre-season about this time. Evan did respond to that one and say yes, they're in Florida and in Arizona, so a bit warmer at this time of year in those states. So, but apart from that, it's spring training is on its way. Evan made made himself available for a what they call a major league team, which is at the little league stage, and he's on a team called the Trophy Team, who last year went unbeaten. So there's a lot to live up to. So but he's enjoying it. He's really getting on well with it. Jody is deep in the midst of auction planning. I am actually going to be the musician for the auction this year because they're doing 50s music, and Jody thought that was a sensible idea. That as I do 50s music, I should be the musician. It's also cheap, apparently. Apparently they don't have to pay me. But Jody's deep in that planning, and there's been a few things happening at Concordia that have just been really tough for Jody. They've had to go down to not having a middle school next year because there wasn't enough enrollment, and there's just a few people that are upset about the fact that Jody's going and everything like this, but it's nothing Jody can't handle. We are still rolling towards the UK. We actually made a decision last week. It was quite a funny decision actually, because Jody was speaking to a parent at school, and she was just saying, "Oh, what are you thinking of doing when you leave?" And she said, "Well, we're thinking about going to the UK." And the parents immediately just went, "Why wouldn't you?" And Jody didn't really answer that one at the time. She just left it and was like, "That's a bit presumptuous." But then as she thought about it, she went through a few things in her head, and she was like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" Gives the children an experience of the UK. It gives Jody a chance to get some experience with British schools and a different school system, and it gives us all a chance to go and serve with Wellspring, where both of us have a real deep heart. So we made the decision that, job or no job, we will be moving to the UK. The only thing that does sort of hang in the balance at the moment, whether we go or not, is whether we can sell the house. But the housing market in Seattle and the general area is red hot at the moment, and it doesn't look like we'll have any problems at the right price selling a house. Hopefully that will give us enough money to pay off all Jody's school debt, and have quite a lot of money to be able to actually support ourselves for at least a few months, just in case Jody doesn't get a job or I don't get a job back in the UK. But so we've pretty much yeah, we're looking forward to hopefully mid-July early August, being back in the UK and hopefully fellowshipping and worshipping and working with Wellspring Church. Yet to be decided what site. So what's God been teaching me? Well, I will have to make a disclaimer here. It is something that I heard from actually Wellspring. They've been doing, Wellspring is actually in the book of Colossians at the moment, and taking it very slowly, which is really good. And part of the sermon the last couple of weeks has been about joy. And Tim was explaining that joy isn't going around with a smile on your face all the time, being happy-clappy, as some British people would call Christians, or hands up for coffee mob, as Jerry O'Connell would have said. But it's an inward peace, resolve that God gives us. And Paul prays for this, for the church of Colossae. And I've been finding this really comforting, in especially the last 3 weeks, as my depression has sort of hit a little more. Because we can all pray to God for him to take situations away. And he may do that. But sometimes God actually wants us to go through that situation. We look specifically, and this was the example that Tim used. You look specifically at Joseph's life from Genesis. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. But while in slavery, he became the ruler, ran the house of Potiphar. But he was still a slave. God blessed him and gave him the strength to go through that situation, but he was still a slave. Then, when Potiphar's wife accused him of raping her, he got thrown in prison. And very quickly, God blessed him again, and he became the head of the prison, basically, taking care of all things. But he was still in prison. And finally, when he became the Prince of Egypt, the second in command only to Pharaoh, God blessed him, obviously. But he was still in a foreign land. He still wasn't with his family, and he was away from them. But God gave him the strength each time to go through this. And this is something that has reassured me, is that sometimes God doesn't take us out of situations. God wants us to persevere through situations and to hold on to him and his rock. Paul, in the New Testament, was pretty much like that. He talks about his thorn in his side. There's a lot of speculation what that thorn was, and one of them actually is that he did have a serious bout of depression. He was depressed. But God didn't take that away from him. He said his grace is enough. And God is constantly looking for us to be in that place of he is enough. Whatever the situation we are going through, whatever is going on in our lives, whatever is happening in the country, God is enough. So that's been really helping me through the last couple of weeks especially. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Bye bye.